Okay, so my name is Christina Hampton. Hello, I am a senior product trainer here at Inside Real Estate. Um, Grown up around real estate, parents, siblings, grandparents, all in the industry. Um, when I was in college, I was a nanny. The mom was a real estate agent, so I've been around real estate like for my entire life, and so I trained agents on tools and technology. That's how I learned about KV Core, and even from like one of the very first days daily call creation is one of my favorite features. So I have been wanting to do a webinar like all about daily call creation. So I finally just said, here I am doing this. And so daily call creation, daily, what is it? So as many of you know, KV Core is all about building your database, nurturing that database so you can convert more leads, right? Build, nurture, convert. Daily call creation is right on the edge of like nurture and convert. Daily call creation is a feature in KV Core, and it's one of the two ways that KV Core schedules calls for you. Right. So you don't need to schedule call. You can, of course, schedule calls for yourself. That's a whole other webinar. I definitely have one of those that I've done. And so KV Core schedule calls for you based on smart campaigns and daily call creation. And it is, again, my favorite thing. I'm so excited to talk to you about this. So daily call creation is where these calls are scheduled for you, and they are based on the status of the contact. It's based on that person's behavior and then your behavior. And that's why I love it so, so much, because I know some of you aren't, some people love smart campaigns, some people are nervous about them, some people hate them, all of the above. I love them personally, but this is a good way to like dip your toes into the automation of KV Core. That's one reason why I love it. Two, it's based on your contacts behavior, right? And so it's not just like a random list. There's a reason. I like to say there's a method to the madness, and it's based on your behavior, because these are people who might otherwise fall through the cracks and are really good for you when it comes to making connections. So it's designed so you never miss an opportunity to engage with your contacts, especially right when they're at like that hot portion. So with daily call creation, it looks very specific things for you. So for example, daily call creation is going to, let me grab the article and paste that out. Now, for any of you watching the YouTube playlist, there is a singular doc down in the description, and that is going to have all the articles that I'm chatting out today. So you won't get all these articles chatted to you. You'll have the one singular document, and that'll be down in the description below. So daily call creation, let's just look at that. So it looks very specifically at certain statuses, right? So and you can set what those statuses are. I'm going to show that to you, right? So specific statuses, and then their specific behavior. So there's other things that go on in there too, like if you have not done a daily call creation call with this person before, then it won't continue to make them for you, right? Because it's just like, okay, you're not going to, let's move on to another contact kind of a thing. It also, there's a limit to how many calls that they'll make. You set that limit. So it's not something that we set for you. You get to set that limit. And then it looks at very specific behavior, right? So it looks at this. Take a screenshot of this. I will also include a screenshot of this in the article that I'm going to share out with you. And so this is the very specific behavior that you want your leads to have triggered. Okay, so this is what KV Core is looking for. So you have your statuses, that's one thing that they look for. You have their behavior, which this is their behavior. And then your behavior is whether or not you're calling them already, right? Because it's designed to make sure you're not missing an opportunity to engage. So for example, a contact has triggered a behavior in the last 24 hours. This is behavioral automation behavior. So again, it's something very, very specific. Right, let me chat you an article about that as well. Oops, I can't spell behavior. Right, so behavioral automation, here we go. This behavioral automation is where KV Core looks at activity on your KV Core website, right? Has someone visited your site for the first time in 14 days? Has someone visited your site 5 times this week, your KV Core site? Has someone viewed properties, 10 of them in the last week, right? So if someone completes these very, very specific behaviors, this is behavioral alerts and behavioral automation. Couple things happen. 1, you are notified as an agent, and 2, they get a text. Okay, so that text says, so for example, contact views 10 properties in a 7-day period. You're notified, they get a text, hey, Jeff, see you've been spending some time on my site. Thank you so much. Is there anything specific I can look into for you? I can be happy to set you up on a search alert or narrow your results, right? It says hello and then tries to get them to engage with you. Now, if they engage with you, great. You call them, they text back, however you communicate, that's great. So if someone completes this hot behavior and behavioral automation doesn't work to get their attention, we don't want to just give up on them. And that's where daily call creation comes in. So daily call creation is then going to say, okay, someone who's triggered one of those hot behaviors, you really should be calling them. Like it's gonna send them a text automatically. They don't have text, it will email them. But then you should call them. Like these are hot leads. You should call them. If you haven't, and this is where your behavior comes in, KV Core will schedule this for you. Okay, so there's so much that can be going on in KV Core. Like if you miss those behavioral automations, if you miss a notification about a new lead, if you miss, so many things. Daily call creation is like your big safety net that makes sure nothing falls through the cracks. Your piece of the puzzle is that you need to log in and complete your phone calls, right? That's your piece of the puzzle. And so today what we're going to look at is how do we get the most out of daily call creation? And so what we're going to do is look at our leads and contacts to make sure that we are triggering as many behavioral alerts as possible. We are going to make sure we have people viewing properties. We're going to make sure generating leads. We want to make sure we're contacting those leads. We want to be contacting the hot leads, right? So it's very, very specific behavior that it looks at for you. Okay, so now that we've looked at this, and this is really what we're going to work through for most of today, let's look at how we set our specific desires here. So the best way to do it is in your profile. There's 2 ways to do it, but I like to go to the profile. So if I click on my name in the top right-hand corner, I can go down to my profile. And now that I'm in my profile, I've got my daily call task creation right there front and center for me. And I can click edit. So that's one way to get here. Top right corner, click on your name, go down to your profile. In there, you just move your mouse down just a little bit to daily call task creation and you click edit. That's one way to do this. The other way is right from your dashboard. You have your activity stream, you have your calls, which you want to complete, and then you have tasks. So if you click on calls, it will show you all the calls that you have scheduled for today, and you'll have your daily call creation. So you can edit it right from here. Like if you log in and you look at this, like, I don't have any phone calls to make today. Okay, let me look at my settings. Maybe that's what I need to work on. So if I click edit settings, that's how I can do that. So first, do I want to auto create calls each day? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single day. Then do I want calls on weekends? So if I have this off like this, which is gray, then I am not going to get calls scheduled for me on weekends from daily call creation. Smart campaigns, different. Daily call creation. So it's up to you. I have some agents who are like, I am busy on weekends. I'm holding open houses. I'm doing showings. I have listing appointments. Like I do not need to be, kind of prospecting for that kind of nurture to convert portion of my business. I'm working the ones that I'm like working with. So I don't need calls on the weekends. So you turn that off. That's fine. I have other people who are like, well, most of my contacts, my leads are not working on the weekends. This is when they're available to receive phone calls. So yeah, give me calls on the weekend. So that's what that is. It's like, yes, I want this feature on. It is on by default. And whether or not you want calls on the weekends is up to you. From there, we're going to talk about our statuses. Oh, I got a question. Yep. You don't see call creation under my name. So if you click on your name, and then you go down to my profile. So it's technically in your profile. Okay, and then when you're here, you just take your mouse down your screen, daily call task creation, and click edit. Now, if you are on like a tablet, and if I make this really big, oh, okay, nope, just kidding. This doesn't adjust. There we go. Most of the system adjusts. Got it. Okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah, and then the other way was dashboard, calls, edit. It looks the same once you edit it, open it up. So my next step is so that's step one. Go in, make sure you have the days of the week set the way you want them to, whether you want weekends on, weekends off. Step two is think about the statuses that you're going to generate your calls for. Okay, so the statuses in KV Core, right? And there's a full list here for you. The statuses are your primary relationship to these people, right? How close are they to becoming a contact with you, right? How close are they, to becoming a client with you? Because they're already your contacts, right? And so I've got my prospects, new leads, and active leads, and that's what it defaults to, because these people I am hoping to become clients, but they aren't there yet. Sphere is different. Some of you will want to add your sphere here, and some of you will leave it off. So it defaults to prospects, active leads, and new leads, because again, those are the people that we're really trying to work in our business, right? Those are the people that we're nurturing and building a relationship with and building trust, getting that know, like, and trust factor going. So that way they work with us. Okay. So prospects, I know they're interested in real estate. That might be the only thing that I know, but I know that. New leads are brand new. I don't know anything. I don't know if they actually want that property or if they just clicked on the pretty picture. Still figuring that out. And active leads, I know they're interested in real estate and they're talking to me. Not quite yet my client. I'm still building some trust. I'm still waiting for the timing to be right for them. Right. So these are like my money making statuses. This is where my business is. Right. This is the hard part. Right. Once someone's a client, most of us can talk to our clients. Right. But it's this piece of the puzzle. It's making sure I have time for these people while I'm taking care of my clients. Right. So these are the statuses that are selected for you in daily call creation. Now, should you add anyone else here? And that is a good question. So the daily calls and tasks, you can add your sphere in here. I would personally I personally would add my sphere of influence in here. It really just depends on you. Like, so for example, if you have a bunch of people in your sphere not on a smart campaign, I would absolutely come here and add them to this daily call creation, right? Because again, what this does, it's not going to have you call them too often, but if you've never called them through KV Core, it's going to schedule that for you, right? So personally, I would put my sphere in here. If you have your sphere on our sphere smart campaign, you don't necessarily need to put them on here because that's enough enough activity. But if you don't have them on a campaign, if you want an alternative way to talk to your sphere, here it is, right? Put them here in this daily call creation. Now, our other statuses, clients, you could put clients on here as well, but you cannot put contract, closed, or archived. Right? It doesn't schedule calls for those. If I add if I add closed, it's not going to schedule them for me, right? Because it assumes like, okay, they may have triggered a hot behavior, like they may have favorited a property, but you just closed them. So like you don't really need anything triggered. They're comfortable with your website, so they might be there already. Okay, so default prospect, new lead, active lead. I personally recommend adding your sphere in here. You can add client, but why? You could. So that would be another way to maximize your daily call creation is look here at what statuses you have and make sure you have people in those statuses, right? So if I did my import, let's say, and put everyone as my sphere of influence, but I don't have sphere of influence selected here in daily call creation, I'm not going to get the maximum benefit of that. Now, think about how many calls you want to create. Our general rule of thumb is no less than 10, and you want to call your 10 by 10 a.m. Right? This is your outreach. It's good to do everyone's a little different. It's the beauty of real estate is you can make your own, business structure. But I like to do my outreach in the morning because then it gives people time to respond to me all day long. Right? So good goal is 10 calls by 10 a.m. Now, I will tell you, I have spent most of my real estate experience in Southern California. And when I trained this to the top agents in our brokerage, they said 35. So if you're wondering how many people to put here, they make 35 phone calls a day. So those are the, top 1% agents in Orange County. That's what they told me. So take that as you will for your market and your business and your strategies. Our suggestion is 10 by 10 a.m. and go up from there. I wouldn't go lower, right? Even if you're a part-time agent, you can make 10 calls on your lunch break. You can make them on your break. You can make them after work, right? And then that's where this time to send an email comes in. So now that we've done some basic settings, how do I know who to call, right? I, of course, can and should be logging into KV Core every day, but we're also going to tell you, like, we're going to send you an email that gives you a list of your calls for the day and your tasks for the day and any new leads that you received yesterday. So we give you your to-do list every single morning. Okay. And it's called daily email. We're very creative. So let me show you an example of that. So it looks like this: daily email. Okay. It comes from no reply at kvcore.com. So I would make sure, let me chat this out to you. Add that email address into your contact list, making sure this is not going to spam. Okay, you want to make sure you're getting your to-do list. Okay, and so this tells me my new leads that I got in the last 24 hours, none. What are my calls for today? What are my tasks for today? So this is an old one, right? Almost a year ago. And I was supposed to call Michelle. And the reason, right? I click on it, opens it up. That's not what I want to do. But the reason is she has not been called in 30 days and she registered in the last 90 days. Now that is contact was created in the last 90 days, has not been called in the last 30 days. So that was from daily call creation. I didn't know Michelle. I would have forgotten about her. KV Core said, hey, here's a reminder to call her. And I said, oh, thank you. Right? So making sure you are doing the activities that are scheduled for you, whether that is through the mobile app, logging into your dashboard on a regular basis, reviewing this email, right? But you get to decide what time this email comes to you. Anytime in the morning. So 6 a.m. through noon, your time zone. So do you like to get up, take the kids to school, go to the gym, you start your work at 10? Let's send that email at 10. Let's put it right at the top of your inbox. Are you an early riser? 6 a.m. Right? So you can put it, whatever time frame you want, it's going to be at the top of your list. So that's setting up the daily call creation. Okay, so go in there and make some setups. Now, when it comes to maximizing is making sure we are doing our best to get all of these, right? So let's talk about this. Number one, your contact has triggered a behavior in the last 24 hours. So what I need to do is get my contacts to trigger behavioral alerts. The best way to do that is to make sure my contacts are on search alerts and or market reports, but really search alerts. So I can check out what's going on if I go to my smart CRM on the left-hand side. And from here, I can use my filters. And in my behavior section, so kind of down on the list near the bottom, behavior, you might need to scroll. I have a pretty big screen, so you might need to scroll. But under behavior, I can see who does not have a search alert. I toggle that on. Okay, I scroll down and I apply that filter. And this is going to show me, just based on that one behavior, I have 56 contacts in here that I will never get a call scheduled for that reason. Okay, so that's one way to work on maximizing my daily call creation, my hot lead list. This is my hot lead list. I want this maximized. I want to get more people on search alerts. So that's one way to maximize people, is to set everyone on a search alert. Right? So we have all kinds of success meetups about that, adding people to search alerts. So I won't go too heavy into that unless someone asks me, but that would be, number one is making sure you have as many people as possible on search alerts. Right? Again, lots of strategies. You can individually add a search alert. You can send them an email to get them to go to your website to look at a search alert from there. You can also mass add a search alert by pre-creating one in the marketing section and then adding that hashtag to people. Then it's going to start just sending them search alerts. Okay, so that's tip one for maximizing your daily call creation list. Put everyone on search alerts. Step zero, I should have said first, is just looking to see how many people you have in those statuses to begin with who have phone numbers. Right? So if I go to my filters and I set my daily call creation for prospects, new leads, and active leads, that's my default. I added my sphere, I think, I don't remember now, right? But if I added my sphere, so I can see who I have there, I just apply that filter. There's actually one more step. They have to have a phone number. So under my contact details, I can scroll down and I can see who even has a phone number, right? So I can look and see who has a number and apply that filter. So I only have 72 people who can be scheduled for daily call creation anyway, even if I'm maximizing it. This is a week of phone calls. That's just not enough, right? So even if I max everything else out, I need more contacts, right? Or what it looks like to me is I need more phone numbers, right? So if you don't have a phone number. That's another thing that you can search for. That's another way to maximize this. Make sure you're getting phone numbers. So we have all kinds of strategies for getting phone numbers. We definitely have some in that Success Meetup playlist right here, getting phone numbers. You can also ask them, right? Reach out to people who have been talking to you. You can send them an email and say, hey, some people prefer texts. Would you prefer a text message? Here's my phone number, right? So you can do some outreach. You can use a text code and do like a fun competition email, like create an email that says, hey, I'm testing some marketing. Do you like flyer 1? Text flyer 1 to my smart number. Do you prefer flyer 2? Text flyer 2 to my smart number. And it's kind of like a fun, creative way to look and see who you have in here and get phone numbers like that. So think about like, hey, I'm running a contest for Starbucks cards, but you can only enter via text and I don't have your phone number. If you want to be entered, reply back with your phone number and I'll send you my survey. All right, so you get creative on how you look through your contacts and get phone numbers. You could also, one thing that KV Core does is we verify, we validate all of your consumers, right? So we look in public available information and see if we have any details about them. I don't, because this is a fake number, but sometimes it'll pull up phone numbers, sometimes it'll pull up social media accounts, and you can do some research, right? Go on Facebook. Some people have their phone number on there. You can friend them. You can see if their phone number's on there. You can message them. You can do all kinds of things. Right? So maximizing daily call creation, I want to have enough people in the statuses that I selected that have phone numbers. And if I don't, I can look to see who doesn't have phone numbers and kind of do some reverse work there. Right? So if you're not sure, like I'm not getting enough phone calls, this is a good way to kind of add some to that list. Questions so far? Again, I can talk because this is my favorite thing in the whole wide world. All right. So that's behavior number 1, right? We just kind of we did, kind of step 0, which is making sure people have phone numbers. Step 1, contact triggering behaviorals. So we need people on search alerts to do that. Really, honestly, that's the key to most of this. Contact has viewed properties in the last 6 months. Search alerts, right? So we're just going to kind of skip that because we just talked about that. Contact was created in the last 90 days, but not called in the past 30. If you want to, our new Lead Smart campaign, if you are following your daily calls and tasks, this one here should never get triggered. But like I said, it is a big giant safety net, which is why I love it because, we all know there's things we should be doing that we don't necessarily do, right? Like how many of us floss every night? I really do. We know we should, but we don't. So just like you should be logging into KV Core daily and doing your calls and tasks, right? That's setting yourself up for success. If you're not, like if I have a new lead and I missed that scheduled call in the first day or 2, that's okay. Because it's not okay. Make that phone call. But I've got that safety net where KV Core is going to schedule this for me, right? New contact created in the last 90 days. You haven't called them in the last 30. So this could be a new lead from all of our new lead generation, paid or free, text codes, landing pages, property boosts, get seller leads. It could be a bulk import that you did. It could be someone that you manually added, but they are created within KV Core, right? So they're new to the system. Let's see, could you repeat how to find contacts without phone numbers? Absolutely, yep, let's go look at that. In KV Core, we go to our Smart CRM. So that is the 3rd item on the left-hand side. Then we have our filters. So you have Smart CRM, and underneath that, it says filters. Now, when I showed you the demonstration, I layered contact status. So I did sphere, prospect, new lead, and active lead, because that's how my daily call creation is set up to include those. If you want to just look at everyone, you could not click that. That would be fine. For phone numbers specifically, if I scroll down on here, I've got 4 sections of additional filters I can do, right? Assigned users. Is it a company lead or an agent lead? Do I have lenders assigned? Contact details. This is where your phone number is going to be. Are they buyers? Are they sellers? Do they have a phone number? What hashtags do they have? What source did they come from? Like, what details are there? What's my behavior and their behavior? This is the search alerts, right? Are they looking at properties? And then property interest, what property are they interested in based on the search alerts that they're on? So to answer your question, contact details. If I click on it, a whole bunch of stuff comes out. Again, you can get more specific. If I wanted to look only for sellers and like maximize my seller calls, I can do that. Higher level, I just scroll down on here and I can see who has a phone number and I can see who has no phone number. So good question. Good question. Love it. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. Now, you might need to, let's see if I have phone numbers. Okay, yeah. So they're all subscribed. That's what I was kind of thinking. If it's green, that means it's subscribed. If it's gray, they've been unsubscribed. So it won't show up as having a phone number if they're unsubscribed to phone calls. So that might be another thing you can do. Who has no phone number? Apply that filter. And then you can kind of see, like, does someone actually have a number here and they've just unsubscribed? I could, shoot them a text or an email or, knock on their door and see if I can make phone calls or, whatever I need to do to be compliant. Some of you have more strict compliancy rules than others. So you could check that out too. All right. Similar, but a little bit different. Contact has never been called, right? So they've never been called, and the newest person will be on top. This one's my favorite. Contact has a rating of 3 stars or more. Now, I get this question all the time because it's not something we like really dive super deep into on most of our training. So the star rating, you can view that right here with rating. Okay, if you either don't like the star ratings and you want to hide it, or if it's already missing for you, if you click on the columns on the right-hand side, you can choose to show or hide the rating system. All right, let me put it back on. There we go. Okay, so what this rating system is, this is automatically updated for you. You do not need to update this. You can, if you choose to update this yourself, you will not break, but stop our automatic updating system, which is okay. I just want you to know that. Okay, and so with my star ratings, it is based on behavior. It's a predictive score. It's what we think, how strong we think this lead is based on the behavior that they've been doing. So for example, if they have a valid home address and they've been there for 1 to 3 years, then they're given 2 stars, right? Because just thinking about the sales timeline. If they have a valid home address and they've been there for 3 to 8 years, they're going to have 3 additional stars, right? Because just the sales cycle, someone's been there for 8 years, they're likely to be looking for their next price. If their last listed purchase price is below the estimate of their current home, so that means they have equity, right? So in order to maximize and get more of our contacts to have 3 stars, we want to make sure they have a really thoroughly filled out profile, right? So let's give them, physical addresses. So that's one thing I can look for. I can go to my kvCORE platform, and I can use my filters, and again, now we're going to fall in love with contact details, right? Because I can scroll down in here and see if they have a valuation address. Or if we're trying to maximize, who does not have a valuation address, right? And so I can, put some work into getting more property valuations. I can sell them a link, email them and or text them a link to the seller evaluation page on my site. I can give them a call and say, hey, I've noticed you're not getting up-to-date equity reports. Let's do that, right? So you can look for contacts with no valuation addresses and call through those people. You can, right? So just making sure that you have the most, again, up-to-date information will increase their star rating, right? So the more information you have, the more likely they are to work with you. And then once someone hits that, 3 stars, then they're more likely to work with you. So that would be a good way to maximize this, is look to see who does not have a valuation address and figuring out how to get that from them. How would you text a home valuation link to a contact? Great question. So what I would do to get a link for that, that's a squeeze page. So if I go to my lead engine and I look at my squeeze pages, I have this seller squeeze option here. So seller squeeze, so my page configuration, I'm not going to really be posting this anywhere. So I would do a source of like current CRM contact. That way also if they, like, well, that wouldn't happen, but if they like, I can't think of any scenario where this would create a new lead for you. So you shouldn't have an issue with that, but I would still, current CRM contact. I could hashtag them, right? Home valuation, seller valuation, right? I'm a fan of my hashtags. Okay. And then I put a location in here. So, I could do a big one. Like if I was just making one link and making this, going to send this to all of my Orange County leads. There we go. All right, San Diego County leads, I might give them a second one. Now I generate my link. And since I'm going to text it to people, I want to use this cute little short link. So I can highlight it, copy it. I can also just click this copy to clipboard, whatever I want to do. And the cool thing with squeeze pages is now I have this history. So this link is always going to be available to me in my history. I don't have to recreate it every time. It's now a thing. It now exists for me. So now that I've made a squeeze page link to get to my seller valuation page, I go back to my Smart CRM. I run my filter of contact details of people with no valuation address. I also want to make sure they have a phone, right? Because if I'm going to text them, and then I apply that filter. See if I even have anyone. Oh, I don't. So we'll just look for people with phone numbers just for fun. There we go. So then I can click that box that will select everyone, or I can go in and like individually do it, but I can mass text them. I might add a step in there and create a text template even, so I don't have to recreate the wheel every time. That is probably what I would do if I was like really sitting down and thinking this through like I am right now. I'd probably make a squeeze page link for like honestly, most of what we've been talking about today. I'm going to make probably a squeeze page link, like search alerts, that kind of a thing. Go make a template so I don't have to recreate this every single time. And then I can just send that canned response of like get valuation text or whatever I call it. But for now, I'm going to say hi, and I'm going to include their first name. I provide full service real estate information and realized you are not getting a regular equity update report. if you'd like one, please sign up with this link and then paste my link. Right, something like that. Hi, Lead's first name. I provide full service real estate information, something like that, right? I realize you're not getting a regular equity update report, right? So change in the valuation of your home. If you'd like one, sign up with this link. There's my link, and then I send it on its way. Yeah, so good question. Really good question. I mean, they're all good questions. We can have more than 50 contacts at one time on the screen. You can. So glad you asked that. Often I forget to bring that up. I, in my demo account, am limited to 10. They don't let me do more. You can do up to 250 actually. So to change that, that's on the right-hand side, right underneath this bright green add contacts. Okay, there is rows. So again, I'm stuck at 10. Your default is 50, but you can go up to 250, and there's a couple spots in the middle. I think there's 100 and something else. I used to have that memorized, but now I can't do it. So I'm stuck at 10. You can do as many as you want. I would give you a little word of caution, because while you absolutely want to outreach, you want to make sure you're not outreaching too much that you can't quickly and professionally handle the response to that outreach, right? I get questions like, why can't I just text everyone all at once? Okay, well, what if everyone all at once responds back to you? Like, is that a professional? Will you be able to respond to them quickly? Probably not. So you can text up to 250 people at one time. For texting, I usually recommend to keep it smaller because texts are like 99.9% opened at least. So let's say, okay, see right now I'm at 10. And to the left of that, you can see I now have 8 pages of contacts. So I click number 1, I send my text message, I ignore Christina, and I go to page number 2. So I can either write page number 2 in there and then it updates for me, or I scroll down to the bottom and there's a next button, right? And I can go page by page. Now you do have to select this page and send on this page, and then go to the next page and select and send. You can't select page 1 and then select page 2 and select page 3 and then send. It doesn't work like that. You could also hand pick, like, okay, this person is in my sphere, so I don't want them, or that, actually I would want to send them. That is exactly who I would want on a valuation report, is my sphere. Yeah. Anyway, so that's another way to maximize that daily call creation, right? Because we want to get that contact rating up to 5 stars, excuse me, up to 3 stars out of 5. And so just giving us a really complete profile is a really good way to do that, right? It ranks them by it ranks them by quality. It ranks them by, like looking at their behavior. Are they, did they save a listing? Did they start going back to your site? We'll update their star rating. Did they save a property? We'll update their star rating, right? So you can, and we'll show you also in their timeline, like they were upgraded to this, they were downgraded to this. Like, so for example, like my test leads, they come in and then data validation runs, and it's like, well, this is not a real email address, and it will downgrade their star rating. So if I were to like scroll through, I'd probably find somewhere in there. Yeah. And then let's see. Contact has responded to a text, right? That's just good practice. If someone is texting you, call them back. You don't always have to call them, but it's important to, with communication, I don't remember the exact percentages. The one I remember is 70% of our communication is nonverbal. So like seeing my face, whether it's on video or in person. And then hearing your voice is another layer. I don't remember the statistic. So even if someone is texting you, right? Remember, these are people who aren't your clients. So if they're texting you, that's great. But a phone call builds rapport faster than a text message, right? So keep that in mind. So if you aren't calling people on a regular basis, it's still worth a call, even if they are like texting you all the time. You just give them a call. All right, so that's how we're going to maximize our daily call creation. Right, so now that we know what it is, and now that we know how to maximize it, right? And you don't have to maximize all of these. Like we just went through a whole bunch of strategies. Start with one, write down the other ones to work on in a month or never, right? Whenever you want to get to them, right? A lot of you are really interested in that, okay, getting more people on a home valuation, right? So maybe you start there. Maybe you start with adding people to search alerts, right? That's kind of the easy one. So think of how you can maximize that. And then you got to, line them up, knock them down. Then you have to actually do your calls, right? If all of this work is happening and all these things are being scheduled for you, but you don't do it, then, you got to do your calls. So do what you need to do to make it a habit to log into KV Core. Now, it doesn't need to be the desktop. It can be it can be the mobile app. Totally, wow, blanked on that mobile app, right? So you can absolutely go that route instead, right? And so put it in your calendar, time block some time, whatever it is that you need to do in order to make the time to complete your calls. Right? So maybe that's half an hour every morning, an hour every morning, whatever it is. Right now, completing your calls, we have a whole other. I'm gonna give you. We have a learning portal course that I want to make sure you have access to. So a learning portal course all about completing your daily calls and tasks. Right? So it's a self-paced course. It's going to tell you what daily calls are. It's going to show you lots of ways to complete those calls. So again, you can do this on the mobile app, but as you have calls scheduled for you here, let me just look at a past due one. You can call these people. Oh, these are great examples, right? Lead has never been called. That's daily call creation. Lead has not been called in 30 days and has a rating of 5. That is daily call creation. I could even see the last time I called this person. So poor Niall, it's been a whole year since I talked to him, right? This brand new lead, I have never talked to this person, right? So let's talk to Niall. So I can work my business from my dashboard. I can also work it from the mobile app. So I click call. And I have 2 options from here. I can call now. This will utilize my smart number. I am completing a call from a computer, so it needs to utilize my smart number. If I want to use my cell phone, like maybe this is my sphere, and I'd rather use my cell phone, that's fine. I just pick up my cell phone, right? And I either make a call on my phone like I'm used to. In that case, I log this call. I say, okay, I just left Niall a voicemail saying hello and checking in. He wasn't home. I left him a voicemail, but I'm logging that activity. Picked up my phone like I'm used to, and I'm logging it. Now, I can also pick up my phone and open the mobile app and make my call through there. That will log it for me. So that makes it way easier. Plus, they see my cell phone. I kind of like that. Okay. So not home. Do you have to buy a smart number? Absolutely not. You do not have to buy a smart number. Everyone has a smart number already. The smart number, you have a free version and a paid version that's available to you as well. So the free version, that's what you see when you click your name in that top right corner. That's your smart number. The free version is shared. I shouldn't say share, that's not quite the right word, but everyone in your office has the same smart number. And that's totally fine because KV Core is a smart system. So if Olivia calls me on the smart number, it's going to go to me because she's my lead, right? If Seth calls the smart number, it's going to go to me because he's my lead, right? Now, if you want to purchase your own smart number, there is a direct link for that right there. Take you right to your smart number. Now, I would purchase my own smart number if I'm going to put it as like the first point of contact anywhere, like on a flyer, on a business card, some kind of advertisement, then I would purchase my own. Other than that, it's just like a matter of like comfort. Yeah, good question. Brand new to KV Core, where does the smart number go? Can I get one with my area code? So the smart number is going to, it goes to you. Like it's kind of like a call forward, I would say. And so the smart number is, so if I want to make a phone call or send a text message through a computer, which is what KV Core is, well, it's a computer system, but platform, I don't know. If I want to do something that's phone related, I can't, there's no physical phone connected to my computer, right? So I have to have what's called the VoIP, a VoIP. And so the smart number is a VoIP, and it allows me to do phone type things through a computer, send text messages, complete phone calls, things like that. Right now, we can't have that be your actual cell phone because they're technically like different types of call transmissions. And so that's where the smart number comes in. Now, again, everyone in an office shares a smart number. If you're on a team, most of your team will share a smart number. There's some different team setups. But so how it works, right? Let's say that we're all offices and we're all agents in the same office. We then all have the same smart number. But Kelly is my lead. She's in my CRM. So Kelly calls the smart number and it comes to me, right? Now let's say Kelly is in multiple people's CRMs. I text her, she texts back, it comes to me. I call her, she calls back, it comes to me. So the system knows, okay, you called her most recently. So if she calls back, she's probably trying to get to you. So it sends her to you, right? So that's how it works. You don't have to purchase a smart number. You can. I honestly think about half the agents I work with purchase a smart number. It's about, yeah. How does it automatically go to you? If you use a smart number, they call you back. Yeah. So good. So like when I say it goes to you, it's a good question. So someone calls that smart number, my cell phone is going to ring and I'm going to look at it and go, oh, and I'm going to answer the call. So that's what I mean by it goes to you. So it does physically call your cell phone as long as you have your cell phone in your profile. Completing your profile is important. Good questions. I love it. Steve, that is a good use case scenario. That is a risk that you take by not purchasing your own. So what Steve said is Joe Smith, your client, calls from a friend's phone. How would it know to go to you? It wouldn't. Only the leads, only the phone numbers that are in your CRM know to go to you. So that is a risk for sure. So exactly for that reason is why some people choose to purchase a phone number. Another thing that people can do is kind of transition, right? Like I like my smart number for, if we look at my statuses, these money people, right? Smart number all the way, automation, mass texting, right? I'm putting lots of things out with a little bit of not sending 100 text messages. I'm sending one to 100 people and I'm getting a lot of results back. And then as they become my client, I like to transition them to my cell phone. Plus it makes them feel special, right? Hey, now that let me give you my direct line, my personal line, however you want to phrase it. So like, I kind of like that transition. If that seems too complicated or too technical for you, then ignore it. That's something you can do. But Steve, that would be a good way to, that would be, if you feel like that's something that you like, if you work a lot of referrals, thinking this through, if referrals is a huge source of business for you, I would purchase my own smart number. I've never really thought that, but now that we're talking this through, that if referrals is a big source for you, purchase your own number. Yeah. If you're going to put your smart number as the first point of contact on your business card, flyers, whatever, purchase your own. Other than that, really, you're fine with the free one. Any way to plug in your own cell phone number? Actually, let me go back. I don't know that I answered. If you purchase your own, you tell us what area code you're in, and we will get you a number if there's one available with that area code. Most area codes are available. There's like, I think there's one in Alaska that there just aren't anymore. I'm not sure. But yes, you pick your area code. Any way to plug in your own number, there's not for that purposes, there's ways around it. Like if you don't want to mass text through the computer, but you want to mass text through the mobile app, you can do that. Making your phone calls, right? If you just pick up your phone every time instead of dialing through the computer, right? So there's ways around it. Yeah, good question. Yeah. Costs, I don't quote costs because I am not a salesperson. If you click that link, or we can look at it together. So if we look at our marketplace, that's where all of our like purchasable add-ons are. And then I can search. I'm going to search. I'm going to type in number. There we go. Smart number. I think it's like the price of a second phone line, essentially. Tells you all about it. Here's some features, how it works. Select your preferred area code. $27 a month. Yes, it's like getting a second phone line, pretty much. Yeah, good questions. All right, well, that is our time for the day. Had a lot of good questions. Any other questions? Rapid fire before we end for the day. I didn't think we'd take the whole time, but y'all had good questions, so I like it. All right, one last time, you can find today's recording on that YouTube playlist right there. I'm Christina, Christina Hampton. Currently, I do these. I'm up every Thursday for a while, so I'll be here pretty regularly. But it's our training team does Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Done For You Services does Wednesdays. Yeah, absolutely. All right, any other questions? All right, thank you all for coming. Just decide which of those maximizing things, I've scrolled too far, those behaviors that you're going to maximize, and start there, right? Do you want to maximize by adding people to search alerts? Do you want to maximize by increasing the number of phone numbers you have? Do you want to maximize by adding more people to property valuations, right? Pick a strategy to start maximizing, and then make sure that you're doing your part, which is actually completing the calls. All right, thank you all for coming. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. I'll see you online. Thank you.